welcome to Fascia Fix. Today we are going to be fascia stretching your hamstrings and hip flexors and quads. Oftentimes people will say they have tight hamstrings, and many people do. Although rather than just going and trying to stretch your hamstrings by bending over and going as far as you can, the better option is to actually address the fascia and the hip flexors and the quads first. Because if they are tight, they're only going to inhibit the possibility of actually stretching or becoming more flexible in your hamstrings. So let's start by doing a standing hip flexor and quad fascia stretch. To begin, find a comfortable space. If you need something to help you balance, grab onto the wall or a countertop. So when we have traditionally stretched our quads, people will grab their foot and pull their knee back. This can cause a lot of problems. Number one, too much pressure and possibly pain in the lower back. Number two, same issue with the knee and possibly at the ankle as well. So rather than grabbing the ankle and pulling back and overarching the spine, we are going to take everything forward, because in fascia stretching, we shorten the area that we're going to be stretching, adding resistance and movement in the opposite direction. So we'll start in the same position. You are going to grab your foot. Make sure you're not yanking your ankle off to the side, just keeping it as neutral as possible. So my knee is straight down. If you are a little bit too tight and aren't able to get here, there are variations that we can do. But for now, if you pull everything in, it might be a little bit easier to get to this position here. So from here, I'm going to resist my knee directly forward, as if I want to go in that direction. I want to feel it coming from my quads and my hip flexors. I'm also going to push the top of my foot into my hand to create a base. So everything's going forward. And then I'm going to use the strength of my hand to bring the knee back just ever so slightly. Not really far back, just past maybe the standing leg. Bring it forward to start again. Resist that knee forward, tighten the tummy. Feel that core kick in. You're strengthening the arm that's moving the leg back. At the same time, you're fascia stretching the hip flexors and quads. Resist forward. Draw that leg back. Finding focus and balance. You're energized in your standing leg, lifted with your pelvic floor. Last time, knee. Resist forward. Feel it in the hip flexors and in the quad. Take your time so you really feel it in that space. And then let that foot release, shake it out. I feel strengthened in my arm. Got to work out of my arm. And I feel more open from my knee all the way up to my hip. Same thing on the other side. I'll angle myself a little bit here. Finding posture, find that core, activate, ground down through the feet. Grab that foot behind you, drop the knee in and forward. Slightly hinge at the hips, tighten the tummy and lift your pelvic floor. Ground down through that standing leg. Resist that knee forward in this direction here. At the same time, once I feel like I have it in the right place, draw the foot and knee slightly back. Start again, resist the knee forward. Make sure you're not cranking on that ankle. Draw that foot back slightly. Knee comes forward, resist. Sometimes it takes a few reps to start to feel it, where you're asking your body to feel it. There's also a neurological component to that, because you're telling your body to do something, but it's different than it's ever done before, so it might take a little bit of time to execute that resistance and gently release. Notice the changes you feel. I literally feel more open through the whole front of my body, from my knees to my hips. So now I'm going to address the hamstrings. What's the rule? Shorten the area that you're resisting stretching, add resistance, and move in the opposite direction. Hamstrings. So first we want to shorten the hamstrings. We're going to find a position where you separate the feet a couple inches apart. Make sure that you're not in a line with your feet, but that you have just basically your stance. You're just opening it up a couple inches. From here, hips are squared, everything is facing directly in one direction, so you're not twisting out of it. So I'm going to lift my toes in the front, and I'm balancing a little extra on my back leg. So I'm going to get that leg activated by tightening my glutes. Tighten your tummy. You're going to dig that front heel down, because this is the hamstring that shortens, down and back. So that's the direction that I'm going to go with my resistance. To gain length in the opposite direction, I'm going to draw my hips further back and down at the same time. I feel this all the way up into that hamstring attachment off my ischial tuberosity or butt bone. Resist that front leg down and back. Feel that hamstring engage. Fire up that core. Make this a workout for the rest of the body as you're fascia stretching your hamstrings. And back up. This can be very tiring. Take your time. If your pace is different than mine, that's okay. Resist down and back. Draw the hips back and down. Good. I'm going to do one more. I'm starting my leg a little bit bent in front, so you're not with a totally locked leg. Draw the hips back. Straighten, come up, step together, walk it out. Notice what you're feeling in the legs. Good, now I feel a little bit of extra freedom in the back of my hamstrings on the left leg, so I'm going to switch to the right now. Separate your feet a couple inches. Direct your body in one direction, square enough. I am going to lift my toes in front, bend my hips and my knees slightly. Add the resistance down and back. Feel that in the hamstring in that right leg. As you feel it there, draw the hips back and down. Maybe bring your hands in front for balance and straighten, come up. Add that resistance. Down and back. Good. I'm going to go a little bit more into the outside of my heels. I'm not getting it right into the belly of the hamstring where I want to. I am getting it a little bit higher up, which is good, because those attachments can get really bound down through scar tissue from wear and tear over the years, as mine have. One more time. Dig that heel down and back, tighten that core, press those hips back, energize the standing leg. Straighten, come up. Good, take a moment. Notice how your legs feel. We just opened up our hips a little bit front and back, activated hip flexors, stretched out the body, and hopefully with that combination, you might be able to relieve a little bit of low back pain and also just feel a little bit more power and length in your posture. Have a great day.